beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, and listening. This is going to be the mid-June 2022 reading for the zodiac sign of Leo. As always, my readings are very intuitive, so I'll provide you with any intuitive messages that I receive, as well as the meaning of the tarot cards. I do, however, recommend you check out your sun, moon, and rising just to get a full picture of everything that's going on for you. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe, that helps me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post videos in the future. Also, totally fine if you find this video a few days before the middle of the month, a few days after the middle of the month. You'll find it when you need it, Leo. It could even be 2 years from now. Just know that you'll get these messages when you need them. But let's go ahead and jump in and get started. In column number 1, we're going to take a look at what's wrapping up and coming to a close. Column number 2, we're going to take a general look at the remainder of June. We're going to do a money column, a love column, and in the 5th and final column, we're going to do a message from our future self or spirit guides. We're also going to do 3 yes or no questions. We're going to take a look at your crystal of the month, and we're going to end on a healing note. Again, let's take a look here. This first card is going to be a summary card, and again, column number 1 is what's wrapping up and coming to a close here. We have the card shift. So quite literally, this is an indicator of some sort of transition or shift that's happened for you the last few weeks or month, Leo. Let's see what other messages we have here. Okay, the first card that we have is the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is a card of keeping and maintaining boundaries. So if you take a look at this card, this person built not necessarily a wall, but a fence around them. And this fence enables them to filter in things that are good for them, filter out things that are not good for them. So really good card, again, creating those boundaries and then sticking to those boundaries. This is also a card of persistence, so some of you could have been a little bit more persistent on something than you typically would have needed to be. The next card we have is Temperance. Temperance is a card of balance, harmony, and moderation. Hopefully between this shift and these boundaries that you've set, there definitely will be a lot more moderation coming for you, Leo. Then at the bottom here we have the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords is a card of nightmare, anxiety, grief, depression. It also could be a card of worry. If you take a look at this card, this person's quite literally sitting up in bed, so something is bothering them to the point where it's keeping them awake. So definitely something could have been bothering you these last few weeks, Leo. Let's see though what other messages I can give you. The first card that we have is the Judgment card. Anytime we have the Judgment card, Leo, this is a card that's favorable for you. The Judgment card is a card of clarity or making a final decision. Very much so, a lot of you decided to set these boundaries, and now you're going to be keeping and maintaining these boundaries, which is great to see. Or could have been that very coherent decision to continue to stay persistent on something that, again, may have felt more challenging than normal. Clarity, though, is also coming in, so through clarity you had that ability to set better boundaries, and definitely more clarity through whatever this shift or transition is that you're going through. The next card that we have is the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups is a card of friendship, celebration, circle of support. If you look at this card, everyone is standing in a circle here. Definitely a really good support system that you have going on, Leo. Even as you set these boundaries, they were really well received by those around you. So good to see there. And then at the bottom here we have the 9 of Swords. We do have the 9 of Swords on top of the 9 of Swords. So again, I'm not sure exactly what this is. Obviously you will know, Leo. But that's, again, saying that there was something these last few weeks that's been bothering you. Something that's giving you anxiety, nightmares, worry with that 9 of Wands. Let's go and take a look, though, at our next column, which is just general, what's going to happen through the end of June. We have the card Moderation. Moderation's always good. We want to sleep in moderation, eat in moderation, exercise in moderation, work in moderation. Moderation's one of those really fine balances in life. So an increase in moderation for you going into next week, few weeks, or end of month, which is good to see. But let's see what messages I have here for you. The first one we have, Leo, is the Hierophant. the Hierophant is a very traditional card. It's a very conventional card. It's very much so a card of conformity. The message that I'm getting coming through with the Hierophant card is that you need to have some rigor. You do need to have a little bit more structure for yourself. Perhaps you want to start eating better, so you need to actually make a meal plan. Or perhaps you would like to be more fit, so you need to start creating a workout schedule. Moderation and the Hierophant are really tying into saying it needs to be more rigid. You need to be more cautious or more aware to get to that place that you want to be in. The next card that we have is the Strength card. Another thing with this plan, do make sure it's reasonable. That's part of moderation as well. You can't just like say tomorrow I'm going to start running 10 miles, Leo. For the majority of us, that just doesn't work. So do set realistic schedule and rigor for yourself. Moving on, we have the Strength card. The Strength card is very much so a card of self-love, unconditional love, self-respect, and the lion on the card there meaning courage. I do feel like for a lot of you this is like sleep related, diet related, exercise related, possibly like money related, but you're trying to do more for you, which I love to see. This is again about that self-love, that self-respect. It's you taking care of you. The next card that we have is the Ace of Cups. Anytime we have an Ace card, it is a card of newness. The Ace of Cups specifically is new baby, relationship, proposal, or marriage. So definitely some new love stuff on the board there for you. But let's clarify what messages I can give you. Again, we have the Strength card coming up. We just talked about the Strength card. Again, that's that card of self-love, unconditional love, self-respect. This schedule or this kind of plan you're creating for yourself, we already talked about this too with the Strength card, is really going to increase your self-love, increase your self-respect. This is you taking care of you. So just really clear message coming through for you, Leo. The next card that we have is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a card of trusting your intuition, trusting yourself as you navigate this. This really echoes kind of nicely where I was saying like, okay, be realistic, like we can just run 10 miles tomorrow, or realistically we probably can't save $10,000 by the end of the month. So do kind of like trust your intuition on what's reasonable. Then at the bottom here we have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is a card of not very good relationships typically. This could be bully, theft, abusive, some sort of toxic relationship. For some of you, Leo, I do see that you have recently left this not very good relationship. But again, going into the end of June, it does feel like there's going to be a shift here. New baby, relationship, proposal, marriage. So it seems like the world has come full circle and you're in a much better place, or this relationship will be much better than that previous toxic relationship. Now moving on to our next column, which is anything related to money. So think job, career, finances, businesses you run, investments that you have. Really, truly, again, anything money related. The first card that we have here is the Moon card. The Moon card is a reminder to trust your intuition. This is also a card sometimes saying like, things are not always how they seem. So do make sure you have all of the information in situations. Like this feels pretty connected to work, but I'm going to give another example too, is like if you're trying to buy a house, and again, this is the money investment column, so I'm going to talk about this here. Like make sure you go and see the house in person. There's like some sort of deception or delusion or some sort of like you just don't have the full picture in something. Or let's say tie this back to work. Coworker A asked you to do something, you're like, why did this person ask you to do it? But there is like some sort of backstory that you don't know. So again, just examples there, but do trust your intuition and make sure you have all the information before you make any decisions or take any action. The next card that we have is the Five of Swords. We were just talking about the Five of Swords. This is typically not very good relationship. So I do feel like there's conflict with a coworker or a boss. We're going to clarify this card. So we're going to leave that there for now and see what messages we get on the other side. The next card that we have is the King of Pentacles. This is a really good card to have in our money column. This is a very solid and practical card. So this is a good reminder to make solid, practical money choices. But in general, this is kind of like a indicator that things are going well for money. The other thing that this card means is investment. So if some of you are hoping to make new investments, this is a card of very good investments. Let's clarify and see what other messages I can give you here. The first card we have is the King of Swords. The King of Swords is a very intentional card. It's very strategic thought. The same message is still coming through that you need to have all the information before you make a decision or before you take action. I feel like this is like long term. This is something big. Again, it's like buying a house, or possibly it's even like looking for a new job. Make sure you have all the information or all the details of taking on that new job. When we see the King of Swords, it's long term, it's major, it has an impact on the future. So again, make sure you have all the information before you make this decision or take this action. The next card that we have is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is an interesting card. It looks kind of gloomy. They're all facing away from us. Their heads are hanging low. There's a bunch of swords stuck into the boat. But with the Six of Swords, this is a card of necessary transition. And you see the boat is moving forward in a positive direction. So this transition is something that needs to happen. So it actually ends up being a really positive card. And this could be an indicator of actually moving or relocating. So whatever this contention is, or this conflict that's going on with either your boss or coworker, I feel like they're going to be moving away, or they could be moving to a different department. So whatever conflict you're feeling, I guess what I'm trying to say here, Leo, is it's going to be pretty short-lived. Then at the bottom we have the Ace of Wands. Again, anytime we have an ace card, it is a card of newness. With the case of the Ace of Wands, this is new project, inspiration, urge to create. I'm going to echo my message here in regards to that investment opportunity. I just do see a lot of you having some sort of new investment opportunity. And with the King of Pentacles, it seems like it would be really beneficial for you. Now moving into our next column, we're going to talk about anything related to love. So think family, friends, relationships, children. Again, anything that you think of when you think of love, Leo. The first card that we have is the Death card. The Death card is absolutely not a death card. It doesn't mean death, but it does indicate a big change, an ending, possibly time to move on, some sort of transformation. You see the sun peeping through on the other side of this card here, and it's like very much so the grass is greener on the other side type energy. Some of you could be ending a relationship, and that's part of this transformation. I don't like to make that blanket statement and say everybody, but I do think for some of you there is a relationship ending. The next card we have is the Magician card. The Magician card is a really great card no matter where we have it in the reading. It's a card of focused creativity. It's about turning your visions into reality. It's very inspired action. I like to see the Magician card because then I can kind of give the reminder when we see this card, whatever you focus on is what you're going to get, Leo. So be really clear on what you want, whether it's a new relationship, friendship, children, marriage, engagement. The Magician is saying you can have whatever you want as it relates to love, but you do need to be clear on what you want. If some of you are hoping to enter into a new relationship, I would say the Magician's a good card for you there as well. Then at the bottom here we have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is again that not very good relationship. It is a card of theft, betrayal, dishonesty. It could even be like abandonment, and this feels to be pretty closely tied to that Death card for those of you that do have a relationship ending. I would say it likely possesses one of those traits, that theft, that betrayal, that dishonesty, that feeling of abandonment, possibly feeling of unloved. Let's clarify this poem though and see what other messages I can give you here. The next card that we have is the Devil card. The Devil card is a card of addiction, greed, envy, materialism, obsession. The This could be a very sexual card as well. This is something that's ending though, which is good because there's not a lot of positive attributes associated with the Devil card. These are all kind of those habits that we want to break, that addiction, that greed, that envy, that materialism, that obsession. So we're moving into this transition where we're moving away from these things. So honestly, the Death and the Devil card are a really nice pairing because these are all things that we would like to leave behind typically. The next card that we have is the Three of Pentacles. This is a card of teamwork, collaboration. So collaboration is the meaning of the card, but this is more about communicating what you want. So going back to saying what I said earlier about being clear on what you want, whatever you want from love, just make sure you're clear on it so the Magician can help you accomplish what you're hoping to accomplish. Communication's coming through too. If you're in an existing relationship, just keep in mind that communication going into the last few weeks of this month is going to be really important as well. Then at the bottom here we have the Lovers card. The Lovers card is one of the best cards we can have in the love column. It is a card of deep love, partnership, strength together. I will say, so I do think some of you will be finding a new relationship. And for those of you that are not having those relationships where we have our theft, betrayal, dishonesty, this is an indicator of a really healthy relationship. So this is future relationship for some of you or current relationship for others. Now taking a look at our fifth and final column, we're going to do a message from our future self or spirit guides. The first card that we have is productivity. I like the card productivity, but it is an indicator usually of being very busy. You're going to get lots done, but there's going to be a lot going on as well. So do anticipate a pretty busy last few weeks of the month. But let's see what messages we can end on here. The first card that we have is the Hermit. The Hermit card is about going within for clarity and making sure that you're like living life to your potential, living life in a manner that you would like. We have the light inside the lantern here, and that's the light that's inside of you, Leo. So this is again like checking in with yourself and making sure you're on the right path, that you're feeling good. The Queen of Cups is our next card. The Queen of Cups is a very nurturing, healing, supporting type card. I do think that there's some healing that needs to go on for some of you, and possibly that's going to be coming through the reflection with the Hermit card. If you look at this card, it's not even really a cup on this card, it's actually a trophy, and I really like the Queen of Cups for that reason. But this trophy is you, Leo, so do make sure that you are taking care of you, but that you're doing things that feel good for you as well with that Hermit card. Don't ever lose sight of the fact that you are the trophy there. Then at the bottom here we have the Empress. The Empress is a really, really good card no matter where we have it in our readings. This is a card of creation and abundance, both wonderful things to have. Again, you can create anything that you would like, Leo. And we want that abundance of happiness, health, wealth, whatever it may be. Abundance all around is a good trait to have. This is also a good card for pregnancy and fertility, assuming that you are hoping to expand your family. Let's see what other messages we have here. The first card we have is the Tower card. The Tower card is typically an unwanted change. This is something that's happening in a way that we didn't want it to. And I typically explain this that like you wanted A, B, C, and D, E, F happened. So there very well could be a triggering event that's causing this self-reflection with the Hermit going within for clarity. The next card that we have is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands we talked about a little bit earlier. This is a card of keeping and maintaining boundaries. It makes total sense because it's on top of the Queen of Cups, which is like you being the trophy. And if you say yes to everything, then you're not really taking care of yourself as the trophy. So boundaries definitely tie in really well to taking care of yourself and protecting your own best interest. At the bottom here, we have the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is a card of like being very studious, being very hardworking. So you'll be working towards creating whatever this future is that you want. This can also be a card of new love. So keep that in mind. We do have that fertility, pregnancy energy, and some new love energy there for you too. Now at this time, Leo, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask 3 yes or no questions using the Gypsy Witch fortune telling deck. If you don't have 3 questions in mind, you can pause the video and think of them really quick. But for question number 1, we have the 10 of spades. This is number 30 card. That's going to be a no. Question number 2 is the 6 of diamonds. This is number 51 card. That's going to be a no. And question number 3 is the 6 of spades. This is number 29 card. So no, no, no for you this go around, Leo. If you watched our video earlier this month, we did pull a card from our Healing Stones deck, which is a crystal to keep with you through the month of June. Your crystal this month is Smoky Quartz, which is good for nerve strength, resilience. It's really all around an anti-stress stone. And last but not least, we're going to pull a card from our Healing Stones deck. Your healing message says, every day holds new magic. Thank you so much, Leo, for tuning in, watching, and listening. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video resonates with you. Again, subscriptions help me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post new videos. If you feel inclined, I did include my Venmo in the comments box if you'd like to make a donation. But thank you again, Leo, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your June.